What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Tribe of Runners. I'm your host, Liz Myers, and in this episode, I have someone that I've, funny enough, been following for years, probably since I started running, always commenting, liking each other's stuff. I knew she was a runner. Funny enough, something crazy happened, which we will get into, which is a lot of females go through this. So I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, I'm going to wait for her to run her first 100 one of these days. And then I'm going to have her on the podcast because there's so many things that we can dive into. And you've done that. So you did the thing, which we'll talk about. Then you trained and you got back into it and you just finished your first 100 mile, which was long haul 100. So before we ask anything, my first question is, did you get to meet Sally McRae?
Oh, yes. Yes, I did. I was so excited. Oh my gosh. She's been like the biggest inspiration for me for so long. I was like, I have to. But I was, of course, like super nervous and awkward. And but no, she's so nice, such a genuine human. It was great.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And it was so funny. I was trying to get up to long haul, couldn't make it. But everyone that I saw, like everyone was posting pictures, which instantly I was like, obviously she's taking the time to like really sit and talk to everyone, which just goes to show how amazing Sally is. But I figured I had to break the ice and ask about that. But
Oh yeah.
congratulations on your first 100 mile finish.
Thank you.
Like I do want to ask a couple questions about the race, and then like we'll really dive into getting into running and like your whole backstory. But how was this for your first 100, and why did you pick it?
Yeah, so it was a phenomenal race. Why I picked it is probably gonna go back to what you also want to talk about, but when I was looking at 100s, originally I was kind of looking later into 2026, maybe like toward the summer. I was actually kind of looking at some mountain races because I really, really want to do mountain races. Um, the thing that kind of held me up there is I live in Florida right now. It is flat. I don't have the technical trail to really train on I think to perform a really good mountain effort. I'm a pretty good climber, but the technical descents really get me. And so as much as I want to do that, I realized I needed to kind of focus on what do I have here, like the specificity of training, and I have flat. We have trail, as you know, but it's not that technical. I've got sand. So anyway, all that to say, I started looking in Florida. The first one I actually looked at was, I think, is Forgotten Florida the one with the 100 and the 50?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you did the 50? Is that
I
correct?
did. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So originally I was looking at that, but it was sold out. I think that one's February, maybe.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, February, but it was sold out. And so the other option was long haul. And as I looked into it, I was like, okay, it's flat, check. Kind of like hard pack trail, and then it's loops. So my crew, it was a first for me. My crew is pretty much full of people who have never done this. And I was like, it's super easy logistically. They know exactly where to be. They don't have to move. It just made that part easy. The one holdup was that it was in January, and it seemed a little bit early for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't sure time-wise if that was a good idea. And I just decided that I'd probably never feel ready, and I just needed to pull the trigger and see what happened. So yeah, it all just kind of worked out. It was easy logistics, easy travel.
Yeah. And I love that, like, you throw in that, like, you were a little concerned about the time of the race. Not at all saying that you weren't prepared, but as I think majority of us runners do, no matter what, we always are like, am I gonna be ready? And you'll probably second guess yourself a million times.
Yeah.
So completely normal, but I love that, like, you took the leap of faith and you just said, I'm gonna freaking do it. And you did, and you crushed it. You did amazing on your first 100. So again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it was, I figured no matter what, it wasn't a failure. I was either going to go into it, it was going to go great, I was going to cross the finish line, or if I didn't, I would know exactly what I needed to do. It was going to be a win no matter what. So I kind of just went in with, we'll do our best. And if I don't cross the finish line, I'll learn something and we'll do better next time. So
very cool. And literally all we can ever do is our best. So
yeah.
Agreed 100%. And I love that you thought about it from the perspective of logistically for you as well. Because you have a lot going on in your personal life, I am assuming, with a newborn and all of that. And, just making it convenient for the first one. I feel like a lot of times people never put that into consideration. And it's not only a lot for you as a runner, but it's also a lot on the crew, the family, and everything else involved.
Especially when you're not super familiar. Like my family they've never been to one of these, and they were out there helping me. So it definitely made it easier to just kind of like set up in one spot and, just stay there. It's not a point to point where you have to try to navigate and park and carry stuff in. So the logistics it was a good thing. It ended up working out really well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And people really, and I'm not trying to sound mean, but like people really don't think about that when they look for the first race. And I know we just get caught up on like, well, what looks really cool? Like what looks
Yeah.
so cool that I'm going to go out and be so happy. But, I think it's really important that we also look at it from that point of view, not only from runner's point of view, but also crew. And
Yeah.
as a runner too, knowing that like you're not putting the stress on your crew as well it is helpful.
You want everybody to have a good time too. They're out there, they're sacrificing their weekends, they traveled, they're out there all day. Like you want them to not be stressed at the end of it when they go back home, as much as possible. So I thought about that. And then obviously I didn't want my daughter to be out there all day. And it was a situation where she could be brought to the course. I could see her for a little bit and then she could leave and just, go have a good day and be rested and happy.
Yeah,
And
very
then be brought
cool.
back to the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm sure seeing her mid-race was a great boost of energy, and then her being at the finish. And I saw the video of y'all crossing together, which was super, super cute. So we'll get to that. But first, let's get into like when you first got into running, how it kind of worked, and your career, because I'm sure it's linked. So let's kind of get into that.
Yeah, so running and I go, way back to the middle school, high school years, but not in the way that it is now. I actually like didn't even like it. Basically it was like a thing to do. It was something that kept me in shape for basketball, which was like my real passion back in those days. And, it was just fun. I had a great team, like cross country team, track team. My coach is a phenomenal woman. I looked up to her a ton. So I stuck with it because of that, but honestly, I hated it.
Mm.
I hated racing 3 miles for cross country. I thought it was terrible. I didn't have a love for it, but I did it. And then, going into college, it was kind of still like 20 minutes on the treadmill, like easy jog, whatever, just to burn calories, like just the typical stuff. There was no intention, no intensity, no purpose. It really wasn't until like 2018, which is kind of where this journey started, where, that love really started. I decided to sign up for a half marathon, which I think is where a lot of us kind of kind of start, just to see if I could do it, to see if I was even able to run that far, because I'd never even remotely run close. And then it was through that training that I fell in love with running itself. I realized it was a time that I could decompress, work out stress, just kind of like shake off the day. I mean, I was really early into my career. I'm a physical therapist, so we work with people all day, every day. And I'm an introverted person. Like I recharge with my alone time. And so running became a way to kind of like decompress and have that time at the end of the day after you've just worked with people all day and kind of poured into people, and realized it's like a way to fill my own cup. And then through that, obviously like the training gave me that. I was able to run the half, thought that was super cool. And then, did that for a little while with like, I'll do a few more halves. And then the natural progression of, can I do a full? And then, trained for that, did that. And then it just kind of spiraled a little bit from there.
Oh yeah. So do you remember that first time when you're like, there's ultra running? What is this? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so when I was training for my first full, I was just like on YouTube looking for videos of people, and that's obviously like where I found Sally, the Western Time documentary. Like I was just watching all sorts of things, but I was like, there's like 100 miles. What? Like that wasn't even on my radar. I was just trying to get motivation to run 26.
Mhm.
So ultra was not on my radar, but the longer I watched it, and then I discovered Ginger Runner. I don't know if you've watched any of his stuff
Mhm.
online, probably. discovered all of his videos, and it was actually, I remember it was New Year's Eve of 2020 going into 2021. I was watching his stuff at home, which is, of course, what you do on New Year's Eve. I'm so wild. And I was like, oh, maybe I could do the ultra thing. I just, like, in October done the full. And so this was like end of December. I was like, maybe I could do that. And I looked, we had just moved to Florida, and I was looking around here, and I found one, but it was already sold out, and it was like 2 weeks from that point. And I was like, well, I'll sign up and put my name on a wait list, but it's probably not going to happen. It's like 2 weeks away. Well, 3 days before the race, I got an email that was like, congratulations, you're in. I was like, oh my gosh, what did I do?
Oh no.
It's just like the moment of panic of like, ah. So yeah, that was, I think it just kind of spiraled. But yeah, the first 50K was like on a whim, basically.
Well, you dove right in that aspect. You just kind of threw it out there like, if it happens, it happens. And it did. So you dove right in.
I remember I went out there and I wore my Hoka Rincons on the trail because I didn't own trail shoes.
Hey, it's okay. We've all been there, done the thing that you're like, I will never do that again.
Yeah, that was crazy. And then I didn't run another ultra for a little bit after that. I did a marathon again, and I think that was it. But I didn't run another ultra for probably a couple of years.
Okay. And so in between that first ultra and the next ultra, was there like a inkling of like, I'm gonna one day get into these hundreds and do 100 one day, or were you just kind of like, I enjoy running, what I'm doing is fun, but I don't know what I'm gonna do?
Uh, the 100 was always the goal.
Okay.
So that's always been on there. The break in ultras was because we were trying to start our family, and it was a journey that was longer and a little more involved than anticipated. And there was a lot of unknowns and stuff. So it really wasn't a break because I wanted to. It was just kind of a break because I needed to. So yeah, the goal has always been 100, like get to that point, work my way up. And yeah, I was on that trajectory because I'd started running again after a couple of years basically of not. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna, whatever, I need to run, I need something else. And that's when I ran the next one. And then the one after that was the day after I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. So
Oh my goodness.
so I was like on the trajectory trying to get back into it, and then yeah.
Oh my goodness. So explain that. Like, you take a moment in life where you weren't running. It happens. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
get back into it, you're ready to go, you're rocking and rolling. And something that you mentioned you've wanted and wanted a family, you found out you're pregnant. I'm sure super excited, but how did
Yeah.
that shift your training aspect? Obviously, some things had to be adjusted. So how did that work for you?
Yeah, so like I said, I was training. I had run a local ultra here that was like 43 miles, kind of around our whole bay. That was in April. July is when I did the one the day after I found out I was pregnant with her. And then I had signed up for a 100K that was in that like November. Obviously, that didn't happen because probably wasn't the wisest move for me.
Yeah.
So like, but I was on kind of like building trajectory toward that 100. But yeah, once I found out I was pregnant, things changed a little bit. I had already signed up and committed to a marathon in Washington State that I was doing with some friends of mine. And so I still went out and I did that. I was like 12 weeks pregnant then. And then my best friend ran Pinhoti that November, and I actually paced her for 39 miles of it.
Oh my goodness.
So I was like 21 weeks pregnant then. But as far as like day-to-day training, yeah, I was still able to run pretty consistently up until like week 31 of my pregnancy. I was doing like maybe like 5 miles a day, super easy. Like it was slow. I didn't care, just wanted to move. But yeah, around like the week 31 mark, I caused myself some issues, kind of because of all the laxity in your body. I rotated my femur in my socket, and it caused some pain. So once I got straightened out from that and I could walk without pain, I decided it was probably time to stop. And so I did a ton of rowing, biking, ski erg, walking, lifting, like I was just happy to move, but I ran as long as I could.
Yeah, that's incredible. And to know, like, it is possible. And I know we see it in social media, I hate to say, but we do see like more females that are becoming pregnant that still train very responsibly,
Mhm.
but they continue up with it until they cannot. And then,
Mhm.
that's kind of just how you have to do it, which is super, super cool.
Yeah,
And you've always been into fitness ever since I've followed you. You always lifting, doing all the things. So
yeah.
when things kind of changed in that, like, was the mentality okay? Like, kind of explain I assume a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, so I kinda went into it with the mindset of I'm gonna do what I can until I can't, and then I'll adapt and I'll change. And so I just really went in with that as like, I just wanna move, I wanna be healthy. I obviously wanted to run as long as I could, but I knew at some point that that would probably go away. And I'm honestly kind of glad that I think the hip thing really stopped me because I could hardly walk without pretty severe pain. I didn't know that I had done that kind of, not damage, but I thought it was my SI joints, and it was
Mm,
not. Um, so yeah, I really just wanted to walk, and I was happy to move, but it was, I don't know. I don't even know if it was really that big of a struggle to change my mindset, honestly. I want to say it was, but I don't think it was
good.
because I went in I just wanted to move. I wanted to be healthy and I wanted to do what was going to be best for me on the flip side because I knew that I had these goals. I knew that the 100 was still the goal. I wanted to still do it and I didn't want to cause damage that when I tried to come back
Mm,
was I was going to be mad at myself because like, man, I just should have listened.
mm,
And so I tried to keep kind of like the flip side in mind, and I was like, "I wanna do these things, and I wanna be healthy, and I don't wanna be kicking pregnant me
mhm,
for, like, just not listening." And really, like, by that point, by 31 weeks, like, you just kind of uncomfortable anyway. The other stuff felt much better, like, skiing, biking, like, I was still very happy to just get my heart rate up and move.
mhm.
And I think I want to say, hopefully people around me would say the same thing, but I wanna say I was in a good headspace with it just because I knew, like, these goals on the other side were the big picture.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think this is really, really good for a lot of people to hear because we get so consumed in like right now a lot. We want everything right now. We want to run right now. We want to do all the things right now. And at the end of the
Mhm.
day, I think 90 to maybe even more than that percent of us are doing this for the longevity of like, we want to run until hopefully, like we're 80 or 90, whatever the case may be, as old as we
Yeah,
can possibly be. But it is very easy to be in the moment when you're not allowed to run or something is going on that you can't run, and
yeah.
it's very hard. But I'm sure you were in a great headspace. I'm sure you did well. You talking about it, you sound very calm and collective and very chill about it. So I'm sure everything was taken by you, which is really, really cool.
Hopefully.
When obviously you had your daughter, so congratulations. How
Thank
is
you.
it being a new mother?
Oh, it's the best. It sounds so cliche, because everybody tells you going into it, like, "It's the best. You've never loved something like this before," like, all the things that you hear, and, I'm a pretty calm person. I'm not, like, overly emotional one way or another, like, I'm just kind of level. That's just who I am, so I'm like, "Okay, yeah, sure." And it's true.
Yeah.
So true, like, she's absolutely the best, and, like, I love being a mom. I love all the different stages we're going through. I'm trying to embrace every single one of them because it changes so fast. I can't believe she's 9.5 months old, like, it's insane, but I love it. It's the best. It's exhausting, challenging, but, like, all in really, really great ways.
Mhm. Oh, I can only imagine. And again, congratulations, such an amazing feat. And
Yeah,
you just made a comment. So she's 9.5 months old.
she is.
So you ran 100 miles about 9 months, 9.5 months after your daughter was born. So
Yeah.
kind of take us through the process of you getting back into running. And I will say, because I don't want you to feel pressure, she's not giving advice saying you have to do it this way. This is what
Honestly,
you did for yourself.
yeah, most people and most PTs would probably advise you differently.
Yeah.
So like I said, I stopped running around week 31 when my body kind of made me, and I didn't run or even attempt it again until after my 6-week postpartum checkup. I do work with a pelvic floor PT. She's one of my friends and coworkers. That is not my area of expertise or specialty. So I did default to her a lot for guidance. She would tell you that normally she would tell people to wait until 12 weeks to try to run, but she knows me. So I, in between, like after I had my daughter, in the 6 week, I mean, I was pretty much walking, like going on walks with her fairly immediately. Like we got home. I'm just a person who likes to be outside. It's
Mhm.
good for me. It makes me feel good. I like to move my body. Even if I'm not running, I love walking. So we got home and we pretty much started taking her for walks outside like every day. So I was moving, like my body was feeling as good as it could have been at that point. And then kind of I gradually started working on the core work, the breathing, just like gentle, like no weights or anything, but all body weight stuff, just trying to get things like activated. And I started that pretty much like the first week that we got home. And then, yeah, from there, as I like a couple weeks out, kind of started doing like some light biking, light rowing, kind of getting back into lifting, but not anything heavy, just like I don't know, lat pull downs, row, like just basic stuff. Just because it made me feel good. It made me like, it's really important as well after you have a baby, like that you start investing back in yourself because, it really plays into like, I'm very lucky. I didn't struggle with any postpartum depression or postpartum baby blues or any of that, but I contribute a lot of that to getting outside, moving, doing things that made me feel like me, even if it looked like doing bridges or banded, exercises on the ground. So it still made me feel good. So I did that for a little bit, and then my coworker did give me a little packet of things to work through. And at my 6 week visit, as a PT, I know like at that 6 week visit, they're not specialists in if you're actually ready to run. They give you kind of like the green light, but that is not their area of expertise. So I got the green light, and then I talked to my friend and I was like, okay, what should I be looking for? And then so she's like, can you jump? Can you walk a certain distance? Can you jump rope? Like there were certain things like, how do these things feel? And then I was like, all of these feel good. We're good. And she's like, all right, well, just start slow. So I did like a walk run for a while, for probably, I say a while, like to me a while is like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Just like 30 seconds of easy jogging, a couple minutes of walking. I kind of just did that for a while, building up distance with it, making sure everything felt okay. And then, kind of just worked my way up from there for like, at this point, there were no races. Like I hadn't scheduled anything. I hadn't signed up for anything. I was just trying to get back to being able to run consistently. And yeah, so it just kind of spiraled from there.
Yeah. Well, and I love the approach too. And, everyone has their opinions, so they can keep their opinions to themselves.
Yeah.
But, everyone is so different. And I think it's really important for everyone to listen to their body. And that's exactly what you did. A prime example is I'm going through an ankle injury still ish. But if I wouldn't have listened to my body and I would have done what a typical Liz would do, I would have definitely just gone way back and gone back and back and back.
Yeah.
But I've taken the time and done all the things. And it's the same thing when it comes to multiple different things. You know what I mean? Coming out of having a baby, being pregnant, and all of that, injury, or even getting like post race. Like I know people that run hundreds and don't run for months after because they're like, mentally I am fatigued. Or I know other people are like, a week later they're like, I'm ready to start running, let's go. So there's so much variety in humans, and there's so many variety in aspects of the way we live our lives too. So I think
Yeah.
what you did is amazing, and I'm not judging by any sense. Like I hope if I were to ever have a child that I could come back that quickly, because that's fucking impressive. But in the best way possible.
Yeah, it's definitely it's not a one size fits all approach. I was not, if my body wasn't feeling good, I wasn't committed to the couple of races that I signed up for, but I needed something to work toward, and I'm pretty good at listening to my body. Like I know when it's saying, I know the difference in being injured and like really needing to stop, or it's just a little uncomfortable. And like I said, I knew that like I want to get back and I wanted to come back healthy. So That's why, like, my coworker was she's like, "Listen, I generally wouldn't advise people to even try this until 12 weeks, but, like, you're you." And
Mhm.
also, I stayed very active during my pregnancy. I did what I could. I I stayed really strong. Honestly, like, my delivery was super easy. Like, I did all the things that proved that my body stayed as good as it possibly could have. And I haven't had any issues, and I'm very lucky.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
So,
And truly, I mean, you said it best. Like you listened to your body, you genuinely did the right things at the right time. But I
yeah.
have a question, and I ask a few of my friends this. But I knew you were into strength training before and like fitness in general, and then
Mhm.
overcame with ultra. And now we're all consumed. But when you mention like you understand your body, you can feel your body. Do you think it plays into effect because like you've done strength training? Because I feel like there's this weird connection we get when we're like lifters or bodybuilders or whatever you want to call us,
Yeah.
that when I say sometimes like I just really listen to my body, like I know what it's trying to tell me, and people are like, "What do you mean?" But do you think it correlates the two?
I think it does, but it also, like, to me, when I say that, like, I kind of know the difference in, like, acute pain,
Ooh.
meaning, like, it's sharp, it's really intense, it's not aching. It genuinely feels like something is not right, and then the feeling of, like, discomfort, where
Mm.
it's maybe a little sore, a little achy, you're gonna be okay, but, like, that sharp, like, stabbing, stinging thing with swelling, or I don't know, there's different types of pain to me, and
Mhm.
I feel like listening to my body, I kind of if I feel the acute pain, I know this is not a good thing to push through, it's gonna push me back. But I do think that lifting, it helps you be able to be aware of your body, that mind-muscle connection. So I do think that both of those play into it. But I think specifically when I'm talking about it, I'm more like acute pain,
Mhm.
something just really does not feel right.
Yeah.
And those were kind of the signals that I listened to. Because honestly, transparently, I did jump in a little fast. I got a little excited when I finally could run. And I ran like 3 days in a row and I flared up my knee pretty bad because
Mm.
knowing what I know as a PT, what I tell people is, after surgeries or injuries, like ease back into running because it's not just one part of you that hasn't run, it's your whole body. And I didn't take my own advice because I got excited. And so then I had to wait like a week for that to calm down. But that was kind of like an acute pain that I was like, oh, this is different. And if
Mm.
I keep running, it's only going to get worse. So then I had to pull back and be like, okay, listen to your own advice. Don't run 3 days in a row just because you just ran one 4 mile run.
Yeah, it's so hard to listen to your own advice. I will say
It
that.
is, and especially when it's like it had been so long since I'd
Mm.
been able to do that. I was just so excited, and yeah.
Yeah. No, literally have been there, done that. I think we all have, or we hear the thing, we're like, yeah, we're not supposed to be doing this, but that's not going to happen to me. But
It definitely happened.
yeah, oh yeah, and it does, and then you're like, damn, I feel so
I
dumb.
was like,
But
I know better, but
yeah,
I'm a human.
oh yeah, we all are. I tell that to my athletes all the time. Like, one of my famous lines. I say this to so many people. Like, I'm like, listen, I am your coach, but I'm a runner too. I
Yeah,
do the stupid stuff.
yeah,
I have done the stupid things. Like I'm trying to help you not do it. And I was like, but you're gonna do it. We're gonna learn the hard way and we're gonna get through it. So it
exactly.
happens. It definitely happens. But okay, so you're back into running. You had a little hiccup, but you get back into it and you're running. When were you like, okay, I'm gonna start looking for this 100? And like what was that like? I know you mentioned earlier you were a little worried it was a little early and you made that leap, but like when time frame was that for you? Was like, oh, I'm gonna get into this.
Well, my goal when I was still pregnant was my daughter was born at the end of March, and my goal was I wanted to get back into some kind of ultra race by the end of the year. Doesn't mean I was like trying to race it. I just wanted to be on the starting line. So originally, my goal was just find one for the end of the year, which I did. So the first race I signed up for was Pine Mountain 40.
Mm,
It's a trail run in Pine Mountain, Georgia. So that is a pretty technical race. Lots of had like 7,700 feet of elevation gain and loss, very rocky, just typical East Coast
mhm.
trail. So that one was very convenient. It was like 4.5 hours from where we live. I could drive there for a weekend and kind of do a training weekend to just get on the terrain. So that one was originally kind of like the race. So I signed up for it. And then after I signed up for it, I was like, that's when I kind of started looking at the 100s. But I would say, I think I signed up for Pine Mountain maybe in September.
Okay.
And then literally like a few days later, I signed up for long haul.
Oh,
I think honestly, I think it was like 16 weeks out from long haul. So wherever that puts us, because I remember
okay.
doing the math and being like, okay, 16 weeks, that's a decent build. So wherever that, I want to say that's sometime in September.
Yeah, probably right around there. Yeah, close. I mean,
Close.
we're not gonna try to do math on this right now.
No, we won't do
but,
that.
but that's so cool, and I love that. I hate to say this, but we're all so similar. Like we sign up for one race, and we're like, I bet I could do more, or I bet I could do
Yeah.
this. And it's just us as ultra runners. I'll say not everyone, but ultra runners. We're definitely ambitious. And I love that you went out there and did it, and that it was long haul. Long haul is a very special race. I love the race director; he's amazing, and the race they put on's really, really great. I volunteered there before and was
Oh,
supposed to run
cool.
it this year, but could not. Yeah, I was signed up
Mm,
and had to drop
dang.
in December-ish. I kept putting it off. I knew, let's just say, the smart Liz knew I couldn't do it, but the stubborn one was like, you never know.
Yeah, you never know what
Um,
it'll bring.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And that
so
would have been the year you could have met Sally too. Well,
oh,
you've probably already met her.
I have met her before. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would always go again to meet her. But yeah, it was super, super
Dang.
cool. There were so many people out there. I had a lot of friends out there running it. So I was really bummed that I couldn't go out there. But you got out there, obviously training. What did that look like for you in the sense of that 16-week build, like going up into the 100?
Yeah, so my best friend actually did my programming for me.
Very cool.
And she's been running in this world for a while, so she's so much smarter than me when it comes to making a plan. But really, she really helped me with like the weekends, because my weekdays, I pretty much said I can't commit more than like 6.5 miles, because what happens is I start seeing patients. So my workday starts at 6:30 in the morning and it goes until 4. And so I have to leave my house by 5:45. And so that means I was getting up at like anywhere from 3:30 to 4 to get these runs done. And that was about all I could do, because then I started sacrificing sleep and recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's just a fine line that I had to play with of I need to train enough, but I also can't push the wake up time so far back that my body just doesn't recover and I get injured or I'm run down.
Mm-hmm.
So my weekdays were pretty much like 6.5 miles in the morning was like the max I could really do with the time I had. So that pretty much looked the same. As we got kind of closer, we did start doing some like midweek longer runs, but it looked like my typical morning. And then at lunch, I would do, instead of lifting at lunch, I would do like 4 more miles to kind of get a little bit longer, even though it was broken up into 2 sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weekends we ended up doing time-based training. So instead of miles, we did time, and that just kind of, it would build, and they were pretty much back-to-back long runs. So that in the beginning, looked like, 3 hours and an hour and a half, and then 5 hours and 2 hours. I can't remember exactly, but it kind of built from there with my longest, well, technically Pine Mountain, the race was my longest. I was out there for 10.5 hours on that terrain. That was a long day on my feet, but also it was a good just confidence boost of time on feet.
Mm-hmm.
Very different terrain than long haul. But my longest, like in Florida running weekend, was a 6-hour long run followed by, I think, either 3.5 or 4.
Very cool.
And then I was supposed to build up to an 8-hour, I think it was like 8 and 3, but my daughter gave us all the stomach bug.
Oh no.
You gotta love daycare.
Yeah.
So that was supposed to be like Christmas weekend. I was gonna do like an 8, I think it was like 3, 4, I don't know, something like that. But I couldn't do either one of them. So we skipped that. And the next weekend, I think I did another like 5 and 3, and it kind of tapered from there. So just kind of built up the time on feet that way. And then I was lifting pretty consistently 3 days a week until the end, as we tapered down a little bit.
Yeah, that's awesome. And an amazing build up and all of that. But we have to touch base on this, and I hope you'll understand where I'm coming. But you missed, in a sense, a big weekend, right? We
Yeah.
always like, oh, peak training or the big weekends, and you still crushed your 100, So really explain to us maybe how you felt with that, and then we'll kind of dive into, like, obviously it all worked out and you did amazing, but I'm sure it's a little soul crushing when you have a big weekend and you're going to do it, but then sadly you get really sick.
Yeah, it was definitely a bummer. It was because my peak weekend before that was like the 6-hour long run,
Mhm.
followed by whatever was after that. And that was really strong. It was a really strong weekend. So I was really excited to have one more really good build that week, have a strong weekend, and then just like feel really prepared. So it is a bummer when you miss it.
Mhm.
But my best friend also reminded me that she's like, look, the fitness is there. Like you were going to go out, you were going to do this. I'm sure it would have gone well, like, but the fitness is there and you just have to trust it. Because now the most important thing is getting to the finish line without any injuries,
Mm.
getting there healthy, getting there rested. And I think one thing that did help was that I did have the Pine Mountain, that what I was out there. It was only 40 miles or 41 miles, but it was 10 and a half hours on my feet
Mhm.
of climbing, running, descending. So it wasn't the same, but it was time on my feet. And after that, my body felt good. I was barely sore, like recovered really well. So I did keep kind of like trying to go to that of, I've got that. It went well. Really, I am what I am at this point.
Mm.
But yeah, it is a bummer to miss the peak weekend.
Yeah. Well, and it just goes to show, like, one, and I know technically it was a weekend, but like one run isn't gonna mess up your training. You know what I mean? Even if it is like the almighty, the best, the biggest run you have, like, you've put in so much time, you put
Yeah.
in so much work. One weekend isn't going to deter or ruin your training and lose all your fitness. And I feel like us as runners, we always like, oh no.
Yeah. And it was so close to the race. Like she said, the fitness was there. I probably wasn't going to gain any fitness. I was just going to kind of, fine tune nutrition, shoes, socks, gear, just get some time on feet and get that stuff ironed out. But, it worked out the way that it did and we just adapted and
Yeah.
moved on.
No, and it's life.
Yeah.
And you having a newborn, I'm sure more than just that weekend were thrown at you where hiccups happened and things like that happened. Did you
Yeah.
notice, obviously, like, you're new to being a mom and all of that. So, like, did you notice a lot more stress on you for this training compared to, like, previous races and stuff like that?
I noticed it in the sense of just I did feel worn down
Mhm.
trying to juggle it all. It wasn't because my goal is, I was trying to get my runs done in the morning, my lifting done at lunch. I worked all day, but when I picked my daughter up, it was, no more training. My time was with her because it's so limited in the afternoons that I wanted to be present.
Mhm.
So I just, the front half of my day was so busy. And then, just not getting a ton of sleep, but I did what I could. I was typically asleep by like 9 p.m. But I think toward the end, it did start to wear a little bit of like, I'm just tired.
Mhm.
Um, but I also realized that like that morning time kind of is my time now. Like training for a 100 or not, that's what I have. So I just had to kind of like adjust to, this is my training schedule. This is what it is. Maybe I won't be killing myself on the weekends running for hours and hours and hours, but this is just the new schedule.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and it's an adjustment in general, but then also having a big race, which, you know, training for any race is very tiring. Having also new responsibilities and just like a big change in life is also very tiring. So
Yeah.
now and now you're like ready to rock and roll. So a question, and then we'll kind of get into long haul. Do you have any desire to do a 200?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Very cool. I'd love to hear it. Oh,
Yeah, I would love to do Mammoth. That's like on
mm,
the radar.
very
But yeah, absolutely. One of these days, hopefully not in the too far
Yeah.
distance. I would love to. Tahoe and Mammoth are kind of the two that I have my eye on that I think I would enjoy the most.
Mhm.
But yeah, that is definitely, and I think that's its own, obviously it's its own separate category. It is like a big adventure that is its own thing, But I would love to do that.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
I've been up around Mammoth, gorgeous, gorgeous. I've been, I've crewed at Tahoe, 10 out of 10, like
Yeah.
10 out of 10. But
Which is
there's a lot of pros and cons to both of those races. So either way, I'm sure you'll be super, super happy with them. But I'm excited to see that and witness that journey. It'll be awesome. But let's kind of get into long haul. So you had a crew. Was it all majority family, friends and close family in a sense?
Yep, it was the main crew at the setup site was my husband, my older brother, and then my best friend Kristen, who also paced me.
Very cool.
We're kind of like the main crew, and then I had a separate crew for my daughter. We were on baby duty, so it was my mom and dad came down, and then my sister-in-law and my niece and nephew. They were all kind of with my daughter, just hanging out with her, keeping her alive,
Yeah.
keeping her happy. So yeah, they were kind of like two little crews doing their own thing.
No, I love that. And I'm sure that was cool for you too, because you knew your daughter was taken care of. That's one less thing to worry about.
That was super
You know,
important.
yeah, because you and worrying about a crew is hard on any runner. Like we're always concerned about our crew, even though we try not to be. But
Yeah,
having your daughter, knowing where she's at, you didn't have to worry about. She was taken care of. That's really, really cool.
yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And then just one pacer, which was your best friend Kristen, right?
Yep, just the one. She did the last 50 miles with me.
Very cool. That's what I say. Damn, that I assumed it would be 50-ish miles. So
Yeah,
very cool.
yeah.
And has your husband been crew before? Like he knows the ropes kind of?
He's done a little crew. I mean, really the longest distance I had been at before this was like I think 44 miles is what I did. So the last ultra I did when I found out I was pregnant, it was an 8-hour ultra, and so it's just like however far you get in 8 hours, and it was a 1.5 mile just loop over and over again. Me and loops.
Yeah.
So he was set up for that as well, but yeah, this was his first like real introduction to crewing.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. And it's always it's either they love it or they hate it. So do you know if he loved it or hated it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole crew seemed pumped. They all loved it. My older brother, who, I mean, he has no idea about this whole world of ultras, and he loved it. He actually texted me today and was like, "How you doing? When's the next one?"
Oh, so cool. I love to hear that.
But yeah, they really got into it and they crushed it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And long haul is really, really great. And every ultra is great, don't get me wrong, but I have a special thing for like some Florida races, obviously. And I know that race is like handled and everyone's just so amazing there. So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, they had a great time.
Awesome.
Kind of jealous when I got the catch up of like how everything was and all the stuff they were doing. It's kind of jealous. Oh man,
You're out there struggling, running for 20 some hours, and they're just out there having a good time.
I know, just hanging out, eating pizza, and just
Yeah. Very cool. So the race starts, you're going, hype is, I'm sure, is all time high. What were the feelings like at that start line the first few miles?
the start line was all the nerves of like, oh my gosh, I'm about to do this, but also kind of like relief for me. It's like the anxiety leading up to it, and then once you start, it all goes away. I'm like, I just need to start. I need to cross the start line and just go, because then it's just running, right, or just moving. So all the nerves, but kind of relief of like, all right, we're finally about to do this thing, and we're gonna see how it goes. And then I just remember like the first loop, but especially like the first probably half of it as the sun was coming up, just like gratitude
Mm.
and just being so thankful to be out there. The weather was perfect. The sunrise was beautiful. Like it was just very peaceful. And I just remember telling myself, like, just be where your feet are, just be in this moment. It's a long day, but just gratitude that my body had even gotten me there. Like I was healthy, nothing was wrong. And yeah, just a lot of gratitude.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I did see a lot of videos and pictures of the sunset there. It looked amazing. So, or the sunrise, I'm sorry. And yeah,
Beautiful.
I mean, that's just the icing on the cake to a beginning of 100 miles. So that's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, in this endeavor, we are always prepared for the highs and the lows.
Yeah.
So, this being your first 100, did you experience like the low that you're like, holy crap, people weren't kidding? Or were you just kind of like, oh, this is a low, it's okay?
Yeah. So it was interesting because we all know that the highs and the lows are coming. I went into it and I was like, It's a matter of when, not if. We'll see what it is though, because you don't know, is it your stomach? Is it blisters? Is it your knee blew up or you've got this hip pain you've never felt? Like I had no idea what it was going to be. I thought it would be something with my body, like my physical being, and it was not. My low was probably mile 83, 84 to about 98 because I could hardly keep my eyes open. It
Oh,
was sleep deprivation, which I went into it thinking that was not a thing. I have a baby. I paced Kristen 39 miles through the night, 21 weeks pregnant, where I could have like no caffeine.
yeah.
I wasn't tired. I was like, oh, I've done that. Like, I'm good. Did not think that that was going to be my thing, but it was like a death march from like 83, 84, basically until 98 of I was struggling so bad. It was, I had my poles with me just to like keep me upright. And I just remember like being in this trance of this headlamp in front of me and just telling her, like, I can't keep my eyes open. They're so heavy.
Oh, and that's the worst. It is, I know the feeling, and it
Yeah.
is just like soul sucking too, because not even, it's like your mind wants you to sleep so bad that the eyes are pretty much shut the entire time, and the mind is just like getting in that like dreamy state. Did you
Yeah.
hallucinate at all?
I think I did a little bit. So this runner passed us and she was walking and she had her vest on and it was really full. I don't know why she had so much stuff in it. It was swinging and I had seen her just pass, so I knew it was a person, but there was something about the way it was swinging and the reflection off the Solomon thing. I don't know. It looked like a really weird person like shaking around.
Oh,
It was kind of trippy, but I knew I was like, for a second, I was like, what is that? And I was like, no, that's the person who literally just passed me. So that looked really weird. But I think that that was it in that instance. It was just a lot of, I tried so hard to keep my eyes open. And that is such a miserable feeling when you just want to close them so bad. I kept looking at the side of the trail like, I could just sit there for like 2 minutes. And I think at a couple points, I just put my poles down and put my head on my poles. And there was one time that Kristen said she looked back at me and my head was on my poles. And she said, I saw you just kind of sway over. And I just like put my hand on your pack because I'm pretty sure you fell asleep for like 30 seconds.
Hmm. It definitely sounds like a little nap.
And yeah, and then I just remember her being like, all right, let's go. And then she's like, you just put your poles down and looked up.
Oh, you're in that zombie mode. It
It
happens.
was, yeah. And I'd taken one caffeine pill and that didn't really seem to help. And then I took, do you ever use Cis, the
Yes.
brand,
Mhm.
their nootropic and caffeine
Yep.
gels,
Yep.
which for me in my training, those were like rocket fuel. Like those, every time I would take those, they were like, I was good. And I had been saving them throughout the
Mhm.
day until later in the race to drop one. And I took it and I was like, all right, this is going to help. It did not help.
No.
It did not help at all. And then as we kind of got closer, I don't know, maybe like mile 95, 96 or something, Kristen found one more caffeine pill in her pack. And so I took that. And it was either that or a combination of things. But when we hit mile 98, which was like the last aid station, and then you had 3.3 miles back,
Mhm.
that's when I just like came alive again.
Yeah, you were ready to get to that finish line.
Yeah, it was like a switch flipped, and I put my poles away and I looked at her and I was like, "Are you ready to run?" And we did, like, after I had just zombie marched for hours, I was like, "This could take us over an hour, or we can get done
Mm.
so soon." So we did like 0.3 mile runs, 0.1 mile walks, and we went. I think it took us like 40 minutes or something, much faster than we had done anything in a
Yeah.
long time.
And it's crazy how that really happens to so many of us, where it's just like a switch is flipped and you're like hauling ass to get done and be done. And it's crazy, but a great thing.
Yeah, I knew like I had a loose time goal going into it. The main goal was just finished,
Mhm.
like cross the finish line. I'd be super happy. in my head, and what I had told people is that if everything goes perfectly, if it's a perfect day, I would love to hit 24 hours, is what I said. And I was on pace for sub 24 hours for a long time. And then sleep deprivation hit, and I just physically, like, I couldn't go any faster. And yeah, then when we got to that like mile 98 and I looked at my watch, I was like, okay, we could get close. We're not gonna hit under it, but I can stay close to the number.
Mm-hmm.
That was another thing of like, let's just go.
Heck yeah. No, and it is crazy like what the mind will do in situations where like you're just about to finish and you're like, oh, I literally can do this in half the time if I would just run a little bit. And
Yeah.
it's that weird mind trick of like the legs are actually okay. It's my
Yeah.
mind or the sleep deprivation or whatever the case may be that's bogging me down.
Yeah. And it was like my body wasn't anything. And I said this several times throughout like the last 50 when Kristen was pacing me. I was like, I really can't complain about anything.
Mm.
My nutrition stayed down. I did not get sick. I pushed nutrition really hard on purpose. My body, yeah, my quads hurt, my, like things hurt, but I
Mhm.
could still run, and I knew they would hurt. They had the expected hurt. Like, I really can't complain. I feel great. But then when the sleep deprivation hit, it was just something that like I hadn't worked through before, trying to run. Um, and that was what really kind of tanked me. But we learn something with all of these, and that's definitely something I need to work on and have a different strategy for. But it slowed me down for sure.
Oh yeah. And like you said, we take something typically more than something, a whole bunch of
Yeah.
things from one race and we try to become better and then we continue to do this crazy thing. So, amazing again, amazing job and super glad it was long haul. Any idea of another one? It's usually like we finish one and we're like, okay, let me look at ultra sign up. What's next?
Yeah, so I was actually just thinking about this today because I mean, I'm truly amazed. My body hasn't felt sore in like a couple of days now.
Very
It,
cool.
it held up very well, and I'm very, very happy with it. And so, of course, like once the soreness is gone, it's like, well, when can I run? I'm trying to balance that, like, I need to give it rest with like, oh, I feel good, I want to run.
Mhm.
So today was kind of the first day I was like, what's next? And because it's still so early in 2026, it's
Mhm.
only January. I'm like, well, I've already done 100 this year, but it's still January. I think I would love to I really do want to do a trail race.
Mhm.
And I know that'll be totally different than what I just did, even though not Pinhoti, wow, that's alluding to where I'm going, but
Yeah.
the long haul is trail, but really it's just like hard packed grass, some sand, like
Mhm.
it's a different terrain.
Mhm.
I grew up in Western North Carolina, so I love the mountains. I love those trails. It's just hard living here right now with the training. But I was looking at Pinhoti
Very
since
cool.
it's far enough away. It's in November,
Mhm.
so it gives me some good time to potentially like recover, kind of, give my body the respect it needs to recover from this and then build back.
Heck
And
yeah.
it's, I paced 39 miles of it. So I've seen 39 miles of it. And it's got climbing, but not an unruly amount like Hellbender. Hellbender has a ton.
Mhm. Mhm.
So Pinhoti, I think, has like 14,000. So it's a trail race that I think would be manageable and doable living here and being able to do well at it, or well for me.
Yeah.
So I think that will probably likely be next.
Very cool. I love that. And it's always hard of really when to know when the right time is to come back. I feel like
Yeah.
us we're overdoers. We want to, do all the things as quickly as possible and you're taking the right approach and I think in a week you're going to be like I am so freaking ready because that's how we all are. But it's like you said the race that you're looking at is far away enough that you would have plenty of time to be respectful to the body, not be completely all consumed with training again because I'm sure you would like
Yeah.
a little bit of life back.
Yeah, it'll give me time to just kind of like, I still plan to run, still do some long runs on the weekends, but definitely not spend 5-6 hours at a time out there. Like I kind of am thinking like maybe a couple hour runs. Like if I could just stay with like 2 hours, 3 hours, like I can kind of knock those out either during a nap time or before my daughter gets up. That's kind of where I try to plan stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll give me time to just kind of like enjoy that, do some lower mileage stuff, but stay ready. So when I hop back in, I'm good to go. But a lot of it is just making sure also that mentally, like I'm recovered, sleep is good, because that's really what kind of got me toward the end. I was just tired. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to respect that and not keep draining the battery so low that it can't come back.
Oh yeah, so true. And I think a lot of us, I know I did before, where we just forget how important sleep is. It is
Yeah.
the number one recovery tool. We all know that.
Yeah.
But, life happens and you're cut for time and you're like, I'll just wake up a little early and then do this. And yeah,
Yeah.
so super, super cool that you are, realizing, hey, I need to get some freaking sleep. And you probably
Yeah.
need it more than majority of us because you got a little one to chase after.
Oh
And
yeah, she's so mobile.
yeah. It is, yeah, just wait. It is you'll have fun for sure.
Yeah.
But it's super cool and we kind of jumped, but I want to ask because I mentioned you finished this race with your daughter in hand, which was super super cool.
Mhm.
But what was that? Was it planned? And like how did all of that come about?
Oh yeah, I wanted her to be in my arms when I crossed. It was so taking it back to the July when I ran the race the day after I found out I was pregnant. I remember running that race and I hadn't told anybody yet. Like I just found out the day we were leaving. My husband didn't know. So it was just kind of like something that I sat with.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like running those 8 hours thinking that like how special it was that I could run with whoever it was. I didn't know it was my like a girl at that
Mm-hmm.
point. But I just remembered thinking like it's so special that he, whatever is is with me. I get to do this with my child, and just looking forward to like all the races in the future where he or she could cross the finish line with me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just important to me to show her that like we can keep chasing these big goals, big dreams, whether she decides to have kids someday or not. It's not just being a mom and chasing these things. It's just having the courage to try big things and whatever it is, even if she never runs a step in her life, like have the courage to try something that scares you and put in the work and do it, because if you do, you'll cross the finish line, whatever it is. And so for me, it's just really special to have her, even though she has no idea what's going on right now. She's like, all she knows is she's getting jostled with running across. But it was just really special for me to have those. And I hope that as I keep running, she gets older. Like I look forward to the day that she can run with me, like hand in hand across it. Like the first one she can walk over or run over. So it was really special, but definitely like I had been looking forward to seeing her, and because 24 hours away from her, I missed her.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was definitely planned to cross with her, and hopefully I can cross all of them with her if she'll be there.
Yeah, that's so incredible. And I will say from all of the moms that I have talked to that have like young children, they always are like, I want my kids to run through that line because I want
Yeah.
them to know like I'm doing hard things and they can do. I think it's like a big thing as a mother or a parent
Yeah.
of just showing your kids like you can do this if your mom can do this. Like, because a lot of kids just think, oh, like that's my mom, like cool, or that's my dad, and then
Lame.
yeah, they're so lame. Like, yes, 1,000,000%. My son calls me all of the things, but
Yeah.
he just recently got into running, which is
Oh, that's awesome.
hilarious. So it's just like, they pay attention.
Yeah.
Whether you really know it or not, they are paying attention. And he'll come to me and be like, so I ran outside and my hips kind of bothering me. I'm like, yeah, it's a lot different than running on the treadmill, isn't it? And he's like, yeah, it was so much harder. And I never thought I'd be having these conversations with him.
Yeah.
So it's definitely crazy to go through it, and I'm very excited for you to go through as well. And I'm sure she'll be chasing you to the finish line with you to through the finish line, which will be super special.
Yeah, I can't wait for those days. Those are going to be awesome. But
Heck yeah.
you'll probably enjoy not being jostled across it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And when she realizes what's going on, I think that'll be super special too. Like
Yeah,
her being able to voice to you like my mommy ran this awesome race, like it'll just be even more special.
yeah, I hope so. I just, like I said, whether she ever runs or not, it's just just showing her that, I was scared and I signed up and I worked really hard and I did it. And, if she's scared of something or she wants to do something but thinks that she can't or she's not good enough or whatever, like just do it, take the leap of faith and work hard for it, because you'll get there if you just put in the work. It might take time, might not be the first try, or it might be, but you don't know unless you try.
Yeah, 100%. And she's going to see that coming from you. So you're already doing all the things, which is super, super exciting. But I genuinely wish you the best with this year and the rest of training, maybe a new 100, potentially a 200 in the future. So very, very excited. We will be following along for sure. I'll have your socials on in the description, and everyone should go follow you and watch the baby and all the craziness that's running.
Yeah, she's pretty cute.
She is. She is. She is very, very cute. So thank you so much for being on the podcast and
Yeah,
sharing
of
your
course.
story with everyone.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a great time.
Heck yeah. Awesome.